Hello, students. As our discussion in the last class, we have discussed about the national development. Now, this topic, a new topic, we are going to start. It says how to compare different countries or states. Now, developmental goals we have already discussed, and how development happens. What is the criteria for national development? How development can be good for one, but it is really harmful for somebody else. Too many groups are there, many kind of people are there. How development will happen in these ways? That is what we have discussed. Now we will be talking about the comparison. Now what happens is when we compare, comparison happens in different ways between different people. So we will be discussing here about the different things that could have similarities as well as differences, because we when we compare, so we compare two things, similar things and as well as different things. Now we will be taking example of different students. Just see, I told you previously also that whenever we discuss a chapter, whenever we complete a chapter in economics or in geography or in political science, it has to be supported with the help of examples. So here we have the example of students. Now, what do we compare? We compare height, health, talent, interest. So now you see it is mentioned here, healthiest student might be very studious, most intelligent student may not be friendliest. I mean, of course, you can see amongst your friends, you'll find different criterias among different students, and different criteria is decided for different sports teams as well. Debate team is there, music team, or a team to organize a picnic. So the qualities that we find in different students, that decides the criteria of comparison. Now we'll see, uh, still, if just see, it is mentioned here, for some purpose we have to choose the criteria for all round progress of children. Okay, now what do? We take one or more important. Now just see all these highlighted points that are given in your book. Please go through these highlighted points very properly. What happens is, when you go through certain topics, you might be not very sure about all the topic properly, but then you have to be very sure about certain points. That's why these points are given in a highlighted form. So we take one or more important characteristics of persons and compare them based on their characteristics. So suppose, what characteristic, if we are comparing two students, we'll find their percentage, their behavior in the class, discipline, attendance. Many criterias are there. That is what they are saying. One or more important characteristics are there, and we compare them based on these characteristics. So there can be differences about what are important characteristics and basis of comparison: friendliness, spirit of cooperation, creativity, marks secured. So on many criterias we compare the students. Just see how friendly the child is, how much the child cooperates. In the academic way, when we compare, when we give you marks for your academics, suppose for history, geography, or anything, then there are other things also that we see in you when we are allotting you marks internally. Internal marks, there are certain more criterias that we see. So creativity. Now, I told you in my first ever video that I interacted with you on 26th of March. There I told that, children, please make your projects. There I'll be judging you on your creativity. There are 2 marks on creativity. So just check that different criterias are used for comparing. Some of you might be very good in drawing, but some of you might be very good in research, doing the research work. So marks would be allotted accordingly. Now, for comparing countries, first we talked about, have taken example of the students. Now for countries, what do we do for countries? uh, the most important criteria: certain countries are there which are developed, certain countries are undeveloped. Now one question that comes into mind: Why? On what basis do we decide that the country is developed or the country is undeveloped? So, for comparing the countries, the income is considered to be one of the most important attributes. Higher income, definitely the country is considered to be on a very higher side, and more income means more of all things that human being needs. Whatever people like, they should have, they'll be able to get with their income. So greater income itself is considered to be one of the important goals. Now please underline this, children, when you go through the chapter. Greater income, one criteria of comparing the countries is more income. Another, income of the country. So what happens is, income of the country is the income of all the residents of the country. In a country, how many people are staying? When we consider this criteria, so we consider the income of all the groups, the rich, the poor also might be having certain criterias, certain points. So this gives us the income, total income of the country. Then between the comparison between the countries, total income is not only measured. What happens is that, please underline this, what an average person is likely to earn. Means a rich person, like here I would say Mukesh Ambani, his income is compared to his average income might be different, and a person who is working in a bank, any bank manager, his income might be different. So average income and per capita income. Now average income, total income of the country divided by its total population, and the average income is also called as the per capita income. Now children, don't get confused. Again, I'm giving you both point of view, very important point, that it could be asked what is an average income or what is the per capita income. Then you have to give the same explanation, total income of the country divided by the population. Please remember it. Please remember it, children. Now children, certain points again I would be highlighting from the board point of view. Countries with per capita income of US dollar, much 12.056 per annum and above in 2017 are called rich countries. Now, the question that is very frequently asked in board, on what criteria the income of the rich countries is decided. So 12.056 per annum and above in 2017, rich countries, and US 95 955 or less are called low income countries. I mean annually, per capita income, annual, just per annum, annually the income of people is counted. India comes in the country of low middle income countries, because there are large number of poor people in the country. So that decides that the India comes in the low middle income countries. So in 2017, India's per capita income was 1820 per annum. Now children, these are certain datas that you need to remember while preparing for your boards. And the rich countries, excluding the countries of Middle East and southern, certain other small countries, are generally called as the developed countries. Okay, so rich countries, Middle East countries are included in that. Middle East countries also don't come under the rich criteria, so they are generally called the developed countries. Okay, so this is how we compare the, how to compare the different countries or states on the basis of the income. This is what we have discussed. Now children, here I would like to again highlight that the last paragraph of this page is very important, because the datas that are given here, children, you need to remember these datas very properly, and then only you will be able to answer certain questions which are asked in the MCQs.